It is taking its time as usual. There we go. Yay, we're live.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Megan, I shall leave you introduce yourself first before we start.
All right. So I am Megan and I run Southern Soul Tarot True Crime. I started the page kind of towards the end of 2018. So going into 2019, I started basically with just tarot readings and things like that. And then I've kind of added to that as I've gone on, kind of with, statement analysis, interviews, things like that. And then kind of
Cool.
also trial replays. Yeah, things like that. And birth charts. I've added birth charts.
Oh, cool. That's funny because I started in 2018 as well. Well, I started first only posting daily messages and stuff, but it was nearly 2 years ago, I think, then that I started doing lives, and I was hooked once I started the lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot more lives in the beginning, and then I kind of trailed off from those, and now I'm trying to kind of pick
Yeah.
up the pace with those again. Like we had mentioned, recently with some other cases too. So I kind
Yeah.
of got more into doing that because they kind of have taken a hold on me, the cases. And so
Yeah.
I feel like being able to
Yeah.
do a live and chat with everybody and their feelings about it have kind of helped me process my feelings about certain things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Myself and my friend Heather, who might, oh no, she said she has an appointment. Actually, she won't be on, but Go Jaguars, her channel, we were doing true crime together live every week. We used to do every Wednesday night and find different cases. But we used to do cases that kind of weren't in the news, like this one now is big in the news at the moment.
Right.
Whereas we used to pick ones that kind of people didn't hear of,
Mm-hmm.
or old unsolved cases, this kind of thing,
Right. Cold cases. Those are
but
nice
like
to
that
do
now we
too.
kind of there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like this one now, or sorry, what was my point? Oh yeah, we got a bit burnt out then as well from it. Oh, there's Barnes and Noble crime.
Yeah. Hello,
Hey,
Tammy. Yes. Barnes and Noble Crime Time is my friend Tammy. She does lots of coverage
Tammy.
on summer wells. So, and
Oh
many other
yeah,
things. So,
yeah. Oh cool.
welcome. Thank you for
Make
joining us.
sure everyone to subscribe to everyone else. You know the drill.
Yes. Thank you.
My mods, Rain already has links in there.
Yes.
We always put in the
Thank you,
links in the
Rain.
chat for
Hello.
everyone to subscribe to everyone.
Yes.
But yeah, we got a
Keep it
bit burnt
going.
out doing the true crime too, because it does take a lot out of you when you're kind of doing
Doing
these
that.
cases on missing children and kind of
Yeah. And sometimes it
horrible stuff.
creeps up on you. You don't
Yeah,
realize
it
how
does.
much it's taking out of you until you're just like, I'm not doing too great. So I'm just going to go take a
Yeah,
break now. You know what I mean? I'm going to like crawl into my hermit mode and I'll be back later. So,
yeah.
you know.
We stopped, and then Heather had woke up one morning to 15 emails from one woman wanting us
Oh,
to do
wow.
15, like, no, and they weren't one-liners, they were massive long emails
Oh, nice.
with all the details of a case, and we were like, look, we are not doing any more at the moment, so sorry, we were just drained. Hey, Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy is here from the UK.
Hello, Sandy. Hi.
So Rain says, Lily and Jack in Nova Scotia, interesting. I'm in New Brunswick, right next door. Don't know this case. Oh, it's only in the last week anyway, Rain. And Rain knows anyway, I don't have any TV channels. I just watch stuff on YouTube. So that's all I've been catching up on is people's tarot readings on it and news clips and other people describing the news clips and what they got from the case. So yeah.
Right. I noticed in a lot of cases like this too, people will come in and they'll usually be in those areas and they're like, I haven't heard of it yet, but
Yeah.
everybody else seems to know about it. So I've always noticed that a lot with cases like
It's
this.
funny, yeah, because I'm over here in Ireland and I know all about it.
Yeah, it's huge here right now in Texas. I'm
Yeah.
in Texas, so.
But it's all over YouTube, like, all
Yeah.
over YouTube.
Hello.
So will we show, do you want to go first? We'll show cards we've already put, or even if you don't
Yeah.
want to show them, just give a brief
Yeah, I
overview or
actually
whatever you
pulled
want.
them. Yeah, I have them
Yeah,
to the side over
cool.
here. So I usually pull like overall energy cards towards it. So when I start with the overall energy of them, I do have a Three of Swords card connected to this
Oh,
whole case. And then we all do know that's like a grief, a loss. It does run in the mind and usually attached to emotions because it is an emotional situation. But it's also connects to the energy of like the truth is hard, it's harsh, and it's heartbreaking. So it kind of to me just kind of sets tone to what we're looking at here and what probably
yeah.
has happened in the sense that now when I say this too, I do feel light planning in this, but I don't feel it so much before it happens. It's almost like something happens and I was being neglectful and then I have to plan it, is the feeling I get, in my opinion, when I try to tune into that. So I feel like that's why this card kind of jumps out, but I also don't feel like I stay there very long. So it's like I have this feeling, but I have to get out of it quickly. And I think, again, it's because I have like the numbness. I get a numbness to that, you know, emotional and mental, but I think it's self-induced in this situation. And so you also have the Six of Wands in reverse for them. So this is no victory in that situation or what's happened or moving forward. So it is trying to kind of delay what's coming forward and having fear of that, but you can't stop it. It's just always going to move forward and be exposed in some way, usually, because it's being witnessed usually by others. And that's kind of why they're coming through the horse and other people are seeing it. So it's not something you can hide from if you've done wrong. So the main energy before it was going to be that or the Page of Wands. So it connects to the number 2. Now we're having the 2 children and the 2 adults here. I feel like that page is going to be that kind of immature childlike energy. Usually it can be for children, but because they are, to me, not being responsible, from my opinion, from what I get, and there is that sense of neglect around it, it also shows their immaturity connected to that card. So I think that came out dually for both of them. You also got that Six of Cups in reverse. So upright, again, it's that childhood happiness, you know, nostalgia, playing with one another in the yard, having a great time. But in reverse, it's not what you would think it is. And so it's almost like being led or not being led properly. So something happens. And then it wasn't, and again, that's why it doesn't feel so much plan, and it kind of takes you out of that earthly energy, that earthly realm. Ace of Pentacles goes into reverse, because if you're in, you can't be in the earthly realm and the spiritual at the same time. Now, if you meditate and open yourself to that, you can. But in this situation, it's just kind of saying whatever action was done took that energy out. And so that connects to your earth, your, you know, any of those things. So it does feel like once that happened, the motherly energy kind of moved on. I get a lot of night energy connected to this. So with some of the stuff coming out, I know they're saying it happened that morning. I don't feel like it did. I feel like we have some, right. I feel like it kind of probably happened, if not 24 hours before, you're looking at maybe 2 days before. And if not, I still feel like time was bought. And that's kind of what it is. It's like you're looking at it and how do you deal with this moving forward still, and leaving these 2 cups behind. There's 3, she has 3 children. So it's moving forward with 1, leaving 2 behind. But again, making that choice because you have to. So, and that kind of uproots the happy home and the happy life. So they had to kind of move that forward, and it kind of flips both of those around. 10 and 10. They get lots of 10s. So those are ending cycle numbers. They connect to completion, success, if you're doing it right. But in this case, it's not success, it's the opposite. So it'd be failure, but it's coming full circle in that failure. So, and it connects to the Lovers. So that's the last kind of, I have a few more cards from that spread, but I also do have that reading on my, you know, on my YouTube channel. So if you want to check out the whole reading, we can go more into it, but it's connected to Lovers energy. And we do know they are a couple here, even though they are now supposed to be split, to my knowledge, recently on Facebook. I also did have where that was probably coming with the 7 of Wands, because they're throwing different things at each other to defend themselves. So it's like they don't know where it's coming from, what the next one's going to say. So they're just doing and saying whatever with all these wands, smacking each other, trying to make the other person look bad, you know? So that's where they're at right now. So that's kind of the energy I got leading up to it.
Just a quick hello to, we have readings with, oh my God, readings with Brianne. I've been watching her as well.
Hello.
Love her. So guys, you know the drill. Subscribe to everyone else in chat. We have Brianne, who I love. I've only found her a few weeks ago. We have Fatima. We have Maya and Steph. I presume Steph is watching. Hey, Maya and Steph. Tammy, Lottie, Sandy, we had already. So yeah, all the gang are coming in.
Yes.
So thanks everyone for being here. As you can see, I have it on the screen anyway, so no one is confused. How did I do that? I didn't even tip it. My screen is doing all sorts of weird things here, lads. Sorry, I cannot do anything with it. I don't know what is going on. There we go. So here's the case. We're doing Lily and Jack in Nova Scotia, a 4- and 6-year-old who went missing. In case anyone doesn't know, it is this horrible mobile home at the edge of the woods. Really run down, dingy looking place. The mother has 3 children, the 6-year-old, the 4-year-old, and what's the other child, 18-month-old or something?
They've gone between 16 and 18 months, but I
I've heard
believe
different.
16,
Yeah.
16 months is what I've heard the most of, but
Okay.
18 and 16 months.
Right. The 16-month-old, from what I can tell, is belonged to the boyfriend, but he's the stepfather of the other two kids who have now gone
Right.
missing. She has upped sticks and taken off. Apparently, she was told to by the cops to leave. Which gives me my own theory, which is completely different to what I've heard everyone else saying. So I'll show you
Yeah.
my cards now, and I'll tell you what I
Okay.
kind of sense. I could be all wrong, but this is just what I got.
Right.
She has. I did hear someone saying earlier on she has updated, which is bizarre, her Facebook status to single and ready to mingle.
Yeah.
That's just weird. But
Yeah.
again, it could be all part of the. I don't know. Anyway, look, I'll show you what I have. I have some of my I know I don't know if Kim is in yet. Kim said she'd pop in, but my was a real true crime oracle. I just pulled a few of these. I have motive, revenge. Now I'll show you all these first, and then I'll explain to you what I'm thinking. Mental jail, which also ties in with a 9 of swords. I also had justice and karma. Right, we have greed. We have bones, which kind of I don't know what it doesn't necessarily mean bones because I'm not convinced they're gone. I don't know. We'll see. Nothing to lose. Political affiliation. I don't see how politics would be involved, but anyway, we'll see. Human trafficking. I had. Son, which makes sense with something else I pulled, but I'll go into it in a sec. Out of town. This ties in with my 6 of Swords card that I got. Crime scene, and this crime scene too. Look, is a woods. So, you know that they're thought to have wandered off into the woods, but it's unlikely, really. I think. Witness. Now this is where my version of events started, right? So I have abuse and neglect. Now with the Sun card as well, I'm wondering, was there abuse from the stepfather?
Yeah.
Right. And then because of the mental jail or whatever it was, and the 9 of Swords that I had, I'm wondering
that
was yeah.
I have the same
And
one.
I'm wondering, you see, was she suffering mental abuse because or mental stuff because of something that was going on with him and the Sun, because I have a Sun card, like I said, right? So that's just my quick theory on that. And I'm wondering then, like, did she, because so do you know the way they said that there are a lot of drugs parties in the house and that there was always lots of cars on the property and people come and go and having parties with them, right? So there you have the abuse, you have the neglect there as well anyway. Because with my 9 of Swords, I have the 3 of Cups. Now, I know there was a party only a couple of days before they allegedly went missing.
Right.
And then I have the Chariot. And I have the 6 of Swords, which ties in with my out of town oracle card. So I'm wondering, did she, like, finding out that he was doing something, did she sneak them out with someone from the party and get them out of there, do you know?
Right.
And
I mean,
she'd
that's
have to
interesting.
you know?
It's interesting because I did the chart recently, and the reason I like to do a birth chart with like the locations versus like the spreads, because sometimes you kind of do get two different energies. So that's kind of what you're bringing up about, like with him, you get that kind of like where you feel maybe he's trying to really, really help, and that's what you get from his energy right now, because he is asking for help. He's out there looking. He's being vocal where she's not. So that automatically makes you feel a certain way. It makes you feel like what's she hiding that she's not being vocal? These are her biological children. She should be out there asking for help. Now, interestingly enough, in the birth chart, I got that he allegedly in the birth chart was more probably the one being more manipulative, one being more of those things. Now, not saying, she's not just as responsible for not possibly reporting these things if they were happening and things like that. She would be responsible. But yeah, it is interesting because when I'm reading the cards and I go off my gut, I kind of almost want to believe him a little bit more and lean towards his story. But when I'm kind of looking at the birth chart and other stuff I'm looking at, it's kind of like, well, maybe he knows a little bit more than my intuition is letting me see at this point. So I do think that's interesting. You do get a very like, you're kind of like, okay, this is how I feel. And then all of a sudden you hear something that very heavily switches the other way.
Yeah.
So that is the interesting part about it. And that's why part of me feels like, was maybe he not there? And she kind of was like, well, I was watching them, something happened and I don't know where they went. And so they went with this story.
There was
Or
so many different versions of events, like,
yeah,
do you know?
yeah.
Like they were asleep and they didn't know they went outside. They were awake and she said, are the children awake? And he went and checked and he said, no, they're asleep or they're gone or whatever. Everything I've seen is different stories. So it's hard to, hey Sylvia. So it's hard to make sense of what's real or not. But like I was kind of thinking that if there was something going on with him and she got the kids out of there, then she's probably acting a bit ditzy because she didn't want to she didn't want him figuring out that she was after getting the kids out of there. And then he's acting so kind of clueless because he has no idea what's going on. And he's genuinely looking for help because he wants them back because of whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And there was a couple of interviews I watched, where he did cry. And it was that kind of cry where you almost felt it pull from your gut. It is that guttural cry. So it's like, that's when I was like, I don't really think he knows exactly what happened to them. I think that he's guilty, in my opinion, for covering up whatever story he was, and he tried to push that story out, but now he's very much regretting, I feel, trying to push that story out. That's how I feel. But again, there's neglect that led to this, that caused all this. So that's what makes them both, and then I did also see recently too, where apparently, and this came from him, she did ask for each one of each child's stuffed animals and one for her as well. So that's where I think some people are going with a theory, as like you're saying, did she just move them somewhere? Because it's interesting that she got all of their favorite stuffed animal for just one of them and had them dropped off to her just recently.
Okay.
So that happened.
I don't think I heard that bit. Rain asked, did either of them have abuse, neglect? Not that I'm aware of. Well, I suppose neglect, because the numerous people have said they're always having drugs parties in the house. That there was always people coming and going, and a lot of cars on the property from parties and stuff. So that would time with neglect. Like, God only knows what happened to those poor kids, where there was drugged up people there all the time. And you see the fact too, right, that the kids they weren't in school basically for the full week before they allegedly disappeared, or before she reported them missing. So I'm wondering, like, say if there, like you said, you were thinking about 2 days too, like if there was a party 2 days before, maybe your man was out of it and she put them in someone's car and said, look, take my kids away to safety. That's just kind of what I had in my head anyway. I don't know. I have just 3 more. I have 2 or more people. Jail or imprisonment, which is interesting. So whether they're going to jail or whether there's some ex-crim involved in getting them out of there or something, I don't know. Photos, maybe there's photos to prove something, but anyway, so there are a few cards anyway that I had pulled already to see what was the story.
Right. Well, their biological dad is on house arrest. He's waiting trials.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and that's the reason you say that. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because you bring in the theory in that maybe she moved them. The father, the biological father, has not spoken and is not speaking. Hasn't said one word. So everybody finds that interesting. But he also has no relationship with them. He actually, to my knowledge, too, tried to change. He tried to do something to where, like, if they change something, like that he wouldn't have to pay child support anymore. Now, like, this is all alleged. I don't know if that. But again, I heard something where he tried to have like a name change of some sort or something so he could avoid paying child support for them.
Oh, good God.
That's what he was trying to do. I believe he was trying to change his own last name so he didn't have to pay for them.
Tammy said as well, I feel it was days before that they were missing, that they said they were missing, that they went missing. The time is off quite a bit, I feel. I think so. Yeah. I think, because I mean, the way she was talking when when she was being questioned and she was asking about I don't know,
well, I told Tammy when, because Tammy and I talk a lot too, even over the phone, and I said the thing about that interview that she says, well, I asked my partner, and then she goes, I asked my partner, Daniel, did he hear them?
Oh yeah.
Why did you need to say that? Because and I'm saying, because I've been in a relationship for a while, they've been in a relationship for 3 years. Do you feel like you would need to clarify which male you're talking to.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like maybe he wasn't there. And that could be where maybe the actual father or somebody else, like you're saying, could come
Who
in that
knows?
she was actually speaking to, who was actually there when they went
Yeah.
missing. And then possibly when the stepfather got home, it was like, oh, well, they went missing and this is the story and this is what was happening. So help, you know, and then that's when the
Yeah.
story came. Again, I don't know if that's how it went, but that's how I kind of feel. When she said, I asked my partner, Daniel, did you hear them? Or do you hear anything? And he said, no. And I was like, that's so weird. I wouldn't feel the need to clarify my partner's name that I'm laying in bed with that morning.
Yeah.
Who else would I be laying with?
And then straight away in the same sentence, she said, "Oh, we were asleep, so we didn't know they were outside, but they can't get outside."
Yeah.
I was like, "What is it like?"
Right.
You hear the sliding door. How would you not hear a sliding door when it was next door? And it was just one thing after another. So it sounded like she was totally trying to make it up as she went along to, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's
Who
when they
knows?
kind of did the speech too with the autism, because she did bring that in about, you know, possibly abduction and that they were nonverbal. They did say that at once. And then she goes right on the other hand and says, but they'll talk to anybody. They're so talkative.
Yeah.
They talk so much, kind of like the Proudfoots did with Sebastian at first. It was like he didn't talk very much. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, he does. What are you talking about? And then, oh, actually he does. You know what I mean? It was to the point where this kid was staying home by himself. So I think he could do a lot more than what y'all are saying. So kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. So will we? What do we pull cards on? What are we? We're at 20 minutes. Does anyone have any suggestions for questions that we could maybe look into? Oh, Hershey's here. Hey, Hershey.
Hello.
I'm itching for a crime read. I hate that I was late. Don't worry. We're only already showing cards that we've already pulled, Hershey. Do you know this case? Let us know if you know this case. Have I missed anyone else? No. Yeah, the whole case reeks anyway, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I did do like a birth chart pull for them, and I'm going to kind of share that read that I got. But I did find a couple items that they would be physical items, and one of them would be like a green cloth to look for. It would be near the area. So I did look in some of the aerial views, and there actually are some green things laying around. I can't see because it's so high up if they're actually cloths or what they are, but they said near the green cloth would be more information of items, different other items that would be laying around it that could possibly be close to them. So I'll have more of that kind of in that too. But I thought that was interesting that they actually gave, actually a physical item came out with them.
Yeah. Huh. Rain said, how about reading about the people at the last party?
Would you like to read on that?
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting too, if to find out if the police or whoever Ellie had actually spoke to anybody at that party, were Lily and Jack actually there? Because I don't know. Do you know if the party was on, like, are they already missed school when the party took place, or was the party before they had missed school? I hadn't seen that yet.
I think it was kind of in the middle of because there was, it was a Friday, wasn't it? They were reported missing.
Mm-hmm.
So the Monday there was no school. The school was closed for whatever reason, and then I think basically the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think different stories now. One said that Jack had a cough and he wasn't in school, so they left Lily at home, and someone else definitely said that Lily had a cough and that Jack was left home too. So I don't know which, but basically anyway, they were at home sick.
Yeah. Now I did hear it was Lily, but what else I would want to know, had she ever kept them home, either one of them, for a cough before? Because that's usually like a fever, an upset stomach, and for the party, I'm still getting Six of Swords, so that's kind of what you've already pulled. That just keeps jumping out.
I have it on the screen, Hershey. Disappearance of Lily and Jack. That was Friday. What day is it? Oh my God! Today is Tuesday. It was Friday a week ago. They were reported missing.
Yeah, it was
by the mother.
2nd, I think.
Yeah,
it was May 2nd.
Right. Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting though, to keep them home, both of them home for a cough. That's what made me wonder. And then they said, I think the party was, I want to say the following day, and that's why I was interested if they ever spoke to anybody at that party, and were the kids there then? Because that would be interesting to know. I mean, that's a big that's a big clue. You know, if they were there then they were still around then. So that would lead us to not go
I
so
don't
far
think
back.
they did though.
Yeah. Well, it'd be hard to know who would admit to being at that party, probably.
Well, yeah, true, yeah.
And you do get a lot of threes connected to the party. So you had 3 of cups. I also have 3 of pentacles in reverse. So kind of group conflict would have happened from this party. So there was some type of conflict surrounding this party, more than likely 3 individuals. Again, this is more heavily connected to the mother that I feel than anybody else. So, and then you still have the 3 of wands. So arrogance in reverse. It's just being arrogant, kind of also making movements with certain directions. You see 2 wands behind them. Again, we're talking about 2 children here. So, and it is making the movement on 2 children or moving 2 children. And then you also have 6 of swords, which again is physical movement because you see it happening. It's using those strategizing and plannings to move forward. So yeah, more than likely the party was used as a distraction or something happened at that party that caused it.
Yeah.
So that's what I get from the party. And again, you're looking at least 3 to 6 people who probably in the surroundings when it happened, but that doesn't mean they all saw it or know. It's just saying 3 people more than likely know.
And I have that. I had the 2 or more people. You know, I just had that fell out anyway. Look, 5 of wands. Yeah.
Yeah, I had that earlier. Actually, 5 of wands come out.
3 of swords underneath.
So yeah, it's kind of repeating itself at this point. That's the thing about this. You'll get some things and they just keep spitting the same thing out. You know, some things will kind of keep doing that, but these keep spitting it out. Again, you keep getting 3s, 9s, 10s. I get the number 4 and 6 a lot, but I kind of feel like that comes out a lot because of their age. Sometimes that'll happen in readings with children too. That's kind of how they give you information. Maybe most of the time that it's connected to them. For me, when I get messages from them, they'll show me their ages a lot. I don't really know why. For me, that's what happens for me.
Yeah.
So
Hershey do be interesting to see. Hershey has an spirit box. Do turn it on and see if you get anything.
Yeah.
She'll type in chat what she gets. This just flipped over as well while I was shuffling the Hanged Man. Sacrifice, you know, kind of things like that.
Yeah.
So
and then I have the mother, and this is why I still keep going towards the mother more. I got the high priestess and the empress. She's a new mother too. Yeah. So, you know, and again, that hidden motive, that darkness, doing things in the dark. And then it comes to like something's lit. And then they were told it was in the morning that they disappeared. I don't feel like it was morning. I feel like it was leading more into night.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, just me. And again, you know, laziness. So the empress in reverse the empress should be a motherly, nurturing energy, taking care of their children, you know, being all that stuff that they should be, but it's laziness, you know, just being about yourself constantly, kind of just not doing what you should be doing as a mother, a person, a parent, having no inspiration to do better.
Look what I had flip out. Yeah. 3 of wands as well.
Yeah. See, it's almost like, yeah, I want to say it's not like a joke of the universe, but it's kind of like, haha, see, like the same ones keep flopping out. And we can't possibly do that. So
no.
So
that's mad, isn't it? Anyone else have some suggestions for questions? I suppose will we ask if they're still,
if you're comfortable? I mean, I don't mind if you're comfortable doing that on there, though, that's fine with me.
Yeah, because I do think they were moved somewhere else. I know a lot of people are thinking they're already gone, like, but
yeah,
I kind of a weird sense that she just moved them to get them away from him for whatever reason. I don't know.
I'm gonna wipe my whole board so I can use the whole deck for that. So 1 second.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna drop one. Okay.
Drugs and excessive alcohol influence your values, your beliefs, and your choices. If something happened during the party, the group thinking might have made some horrible choices.
Right.
Yeah. There was a video. Did you see the video of the party, one of their birthdays, and Lily was standing on a chair screaming her head off?
Yeah, I did see that. And they were saying, you know, they saw him staring at her and stuff because she was, and I was like, I mean, I get it too, but I'm like, I mean, what else do you expect him to do? You know, I didn't find that too disturbing as everybody else did, honestly. I mean, if he would have been like, but he was just kind of like, to me, I took it as like, holy crap, she can yell.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, but yeah, again, that's just how I took it. It doesn't mean that he wasn't thinking something else, you know?
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting video. Yeah. Oops.
Oh, feck it. Okay, I had this fallout while shuffling.
Okay. Yeah, and
I
then
don't know.
that is more of the feeling I get. And the only reason I get that feeling is because there's two of them. So just say like now that whoever does have them, if that did happen, it's hard to keep two children and be able to
Yeah,
do something with them. So
yeah,
I think sometimes when the heat gets too much, you have to make a choice, in my opinion. So I think that's
yeah,
why something like that would lead to. So maybe even just saying, like you're saying, when it initially happened, that wasn't the plan. But
yeah.
once the heat gets too bad, you got to make a decision. So, and
Yeah.
there's two of them. And like we can see, they are vocal. They aren't going to be quiet. So you kind of.
Yeah.
And then I kind of get a Knight of Sword right now for reverse. It still comes in 3. The reason I say Knight of Sword is aggressive. It is a slicing energy. It takes you
Yeah.
out of that
Yeah.
energy. So, I mean, to me, that's an aggressive energy. It can be physically aggressive too, for me asking what could have happened to them. That doesn't mean it has to be a sword type of slicing energy that happened to them. It's just saying it's a cutting energy. It cuts things off. And
Yeah.
so I'm asking if they're still connected here. So it's telling me there's a cut between that and here. So, and it does still connect to 3. So,
The box says method evidence is in the pond and water. See with the 6 of Swords and stuff too, and the water coming up. You know,
they
I
do
did
have a
wonder
lot
about
of
that.
water.
Yeah, she knows him and she would like to protect her child. Method long drive. That's another thing, right? So Hershey has a long drive there. They did say that the mother said she had no reception on the property to make a 911 call or whatever is it 911? Yeah, you have 911. But then people said that in Canada, even if you have no reception, you can still call the emergency services with your phone.
Yeah.
So she shouldn't have had to drive anywhere to make the call, you know, because people are wondering, did she drive off for miles, get rid of them, and then make the call because she had no reception allegedly on the property, kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, and that's true though. You should be able to make a call off your phone no matter if you have reception or not for emergency services, no matter where you are. So you should be able to do that. And yeah, they did make a lot of comments about driving before they said anything. And again, you do see that 6 of Swords coming out. You do see movement. I mean, the chariot literally is a car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the chariot is. And I mean, I'm there. It's an old school car, but if you're going into it's a car, you know, it is. And so, I mean, so is a 6 of Swords in a way. You're just moving in a boat instead of a car, but they're all actual
and then you see,
movement.
And even with the chariot then, and so same with the 6 of Swords, like the chariot is the fella riding the chariot, and then there's the 2 Sphinx. So I was thinking of like an adult and the 2 children being taken away, you know, in the car. And then the 6 of Swords, you have the ferryman who's taken 2 people again away in the boat, you know.
Right.
So
So it still links to 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Main here,
footprint still there. Yeah, you see the whole thing about the footprint too. Like there was so many different things about that. People think that he went out and made the footprints to add to the story, and oh my god, there's so much.
Yeah, I just don't think the stepdad played as much into this as people are feeling. I really don't. I mean, again, I do think he's guilty of neglect and probably not doing certain things he should have done or reporting certain things. But I kind of feel like maybe he was under influence. Maybe he was. I don't know what was going on with him that he wouldn't have saw or know what happened. But I do feel like he kind of just instinctually trusted whatever she was telling him and went with it. That's kind of what I feel like. And now it's like, oh crap, you know, what do I do now?
He actually did say too, which I mean, a guilty person wouldn't say. He said, "Oh, I've asked them to come in and do polygraph tests and do this and that and the other." Do you know? So why would you say that if you were guilty? Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So,
and he was kind of demanding that. And the only thing about the CPS thing too, and that would be interesting. We won't know more until it comes out more. But people saying, you know, well, she left to go to her mother's. To my knowledge, CPS had, and I don't know what they're called there, but that's what they're called here, CPS. They test you, and if you're dirty, they make you leave. So I don't feel like she left on her own accord. I don't. I feel like she was dirty, and they said, whether we take your baby or you can go to your mama's with your baby and you can be with them that way. So that's what I think happened with that. I really don't think she did it on her own. And that's just my opinion, you know, but that's usually more the protocol. If they came in, tested them, and then all of a sudden she's gone, it's more than likely because she came up dirty and it was like, this is your choice. You can go there or we'll take the baby. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel with that too.
They did say that she was told to leave, all right, and
They did
someone
say
did say
that.
that.
Yeah, they did say that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was her or family. They said that she had mentioned to somebody allegedly that they had suggested for her to leave after this. And
yeah,
I don't feel like that's what happened. I just don't. I don't know why.
yeah.
So,
Bye, Rain.
and again, it just keeps coming out as a in reverse high priestess for what she's talking about, which they are in reverse. They're lying. They're
Yeah,
manipulative. They're
yeah.
lying. They're just straight lying and manipulative, like day and night.
Keeping secrets. Yeah,
Yeah, keeping secrets. They'll be exposed, but it's mother energy. So it's not connected to a masculine, it's a feminine completely.
yeah.
And it's just being deceitful
It'll be interesting
and using like
to see
everything that
what
you
comes
have
out.
to do it. Yeah, like using everything you have to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have the Sun card and the Two of Swords.
Mm.
I wasn't thinking of a question. I was just kind of shuffling away, and these two popped out.
It's
But
interesting
that,
though with the baby
yeah,
because they have a
yeah,
baby.
yeah.
And I kind of felt like when
Um,
the first spread, like when they had this baby, like some of her emotional, like with or mental capacities with the Two of Swords follow it switched almost. Like I have this new baby and then I have these two and they're
yeah,
alike. They really seemed like they could have almost been twins kind of, and so I feel
yeah,
like that's how she
yeah,
felt about it, and so maybe she thought this new baby was a new opportunity too.
yeah. Interesting. But hopefully, this is suggesting that light will be shed
Yeah.
on the situation, and masks will be taken off, and we'll see whoever for who they
Hmm.
really are.
Yeah.
Look towards New Year. I
And that's
asked
the
if
great
they're
part too. Like you see it different way than I see the cards in certain ways.
yeah,
So it's good. That's what I'm saying. You always
yeah,
have a different what you're hearing. So it's nice to put it together and kind of blend that.
it is. Hershey said, I asked if they're alive or dead and how long if they're on the other side, and the S box said no, 2 weeks.
New York.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks now this Friday. Well, at least since
Well,
it was
and you do
reported.
get car movement and boat movement. So that's
Yeah,
interesting. So it would be
yeah,
interesting to know. I mean, it's by air or land when you're looking at it
yeah,
that way,
yeah.
whatever. And he did say, look at the airports.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Now, given again, if he, if they were going on an abduction theory, but if you are, I mean, that is what you want to hear from a parent who's actually looking. But he did say
Yeah,
that. He did
yeah,
say he
yeah,
said to put. I think he said to block or to send people to the airports and things like that to make sure that the kids weren't there and that they weren't trying to be taken out. So he did
yeah.
make
You
that
see,
comment.
he's really thought through what needs to be done.
Yeah, he is saying
So
all the right things. So it's like, is he happening to
yeah,
say all the right things, or
yeah.
did he have time to look up all the right things?
Or is it well planned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to kind of tell.
Yeah, talking in metaphors, exactly. And like a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
the speech analysis, people will tell you, like, you do end up telling on yourself using certain words that you don't expect,
yeah,
And if you
yeah,
try it on yourself, it actually works. Try saying something that's not true, like just making up a story. You'll notice how much you use words that actually are telling the truth. And you're like, oh man,
yeah,
like that's not easy,
yeah.
like it's not easy to lie.
I love watching Deception Detective. He's done maybe about 3 different ones on it already on the case.
Mm-hmm.
Just short, kind of 10-minute ones, and it's
Right.
fascinating.
It is. It's interesting.
Yeah,
And I've even thought it was interesting, as I told Tammy, too, as I've gotten older, my friend that's in the chat here, that I've always never understood like how a person can believe their own lies until I've gotten older, and you see these cases with these children, some of the things they're doing, and it's like these people are just
yeah,
gone. I mean, there's no like it's like they don't even seem to register how everything they're saying makes no sense to the common person. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so it's just
yeah,
like, man, like what's you feel for them children, because it's like what was going on. If this is what they're telling us and this is how they're acting and they think it's acceptable and appropriate and there's nothing wrong with what they're saying, who knows what they were doing before?
yeah. God, yeah.
Well thought plan was made. Yeah. Yeah, there is planning. I mean, you have the Four of Swords. That's definitely planning. I mean, you're resting sitting on that planning. With Swords energy, it moves slow. So it's like it can be 4 weeks to 4 months of planning. You know, if you're looking at it that way and it's taking the time again. And then once you're ready, I mean, usually in the Four of Swords, I don't think the original deck has it, but I have like a Four of Swords card. I think it's the Steampunk Tarot. And in that one, there's a like timer almost or a bomb above the person sleeping.
Oh, okay.
So once the chain is cut, it drops the bomb. So it kind of gives you that metaphor too of like, it's not just laying. There is something that follows that laying. So once that sword is picked up and used, you kind of drop the bomb of your plan.
Oh,
well. So there is planning to that.
I have the Six of Wands and the Seven of Swords. So successfully like deceiving, you know, someone. Hey, Selena.
Hello.
Our brain does not work that way for sure. It's hard to wrap your mind around how you can be that way. Yeah.
And that's a lot of these things too. I hear stuff and I can't even fathom, you know, like how could that, or, you know, and that's a lot of times people, you know, we don't think like that. So you wouldn't even think of it, but it's like, it just, again, it makes you just feel for these poor children that were around these people who do think like that.
Yeah.
And how nobody really noticed before, but.
And God knows what happened to them in the middle of all these drugs parties, like.
And I do feel like there's a lot of money attached to something. Maybe they owed somebody money, because I get a lot of like not putting in the work, not putting in the time, not doing what you're supposed to be doing too, you know? So kind of wanting things without putting in the work for them, being sloppy about them, having, you know, not focused energy, being all over the place, expecting things to be given to you, but not doing anything for them. So that led to a lot of it too. And again, I felt like she wasn't getting the praise she wanted for being a mom.
I've heard that too, yeah.
Because it's not a rewarding job. Motherhood alone is not rewarding. But when I think some people too with kids with special needs, I think that they expect more, you know, and they can't just be happy with the situation. And I think that she didn't get like all the, oh, you're so great, mommy, like she wanted, you know, and so that bothered her, I think.
Yeah. I just got a text from from my friend Nick. I don't know why he's not in the chat commenting. Put some comments in the chat, lads. Himself and his daughters are watching. He texted me, "We're watching you." Not at all creepy.
Not in a creepy way, though.
Thanks, Nick. But say it in the chat, will you?
And then there is a male too that comes out, a King of Wands energy. It does attach to the number 5 again, kind of like you got with the 5 of Wands, but this person is going to be very cruel most of the time. That fire energy, Leos, Aries, Sages. But again, it is planning, it's action, making movements on that, very impulsive actions that usually other people suffer for in this energy. They're very stubborn people. They're ruthless. It kind of also, as they get older, they turn into that emperor in reverse. So the emperor's, you know, wearing steel boots, like in the deck. So this person can have the energy if they flip on you. It's like taking a steel boot, kind of like stomping you out, like stomping out anything that gets in their way. So that's somebody, when you see them in reverse, they can be very intolerable. And that's kind of what I got a lot for the stepdad in the birth chart, which I didn't expect when I put everything in. So it did surprise me. So I'm excited to share that.
That would tie in with my theory then as well, you know. So it'd be interesting. Bobby. She got a name in her spirit box.
I had got a name, and I don't know if you could ask the spirit boxes. I got a name that started with an L a lot, but it would have been a female's name. So I can look it up and see again what name it gave me, and then it started with an L. So I don't know I've never used a spirit box. I don't know how you would ask that, but it would be interesting to know if there's an L name attached to that.
Hershey, can you ask that? Ask, is there an L name attached to
I'm trying to remember what the name exactly was.
Well, other than the child herself.
Oh yeah, other than Lily. Yeah, it wasn't Lily's name. Yeah. It was a different L.
The grandmother, see, there's different stories. One story was that the stepdad's brother is living in the mobile home behind theirs, and another one was that the stepdad's mother owns all the land and is living in the.
That's what I heard. I heard the land is theirs, and then I heard off the land they have more, and that's another thing I got actually, which because I am also going to do like a live tomorrow, and I hope y'all can join me for that. But that's where I'll share the birth chart, and in the live I thought of the property actually, and I'm glad you just brought that up because it made me think. I heard there's more property off the property that they have. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I heard that they had more like houses or something, or some type of, I don't know if it's a trailer home or an actual home, but there's supposed to be something else they own. But it did say that there's more information along with, there's 3 items I got. One of them was the green cloth, but it said the green cloth and there's a property off of theirs. All of these somehow connect to what happened to them. And then there's 2 more items in the chart that I'll share tomorrow in the live that also you can look for, and they're actual physical items.
Wow. Hershey has Lauren, Lovey. It said grandfather very bad, Lexi. Modular.
It sounds right. I almost want to say, hold on.
They're talking too about how poor they are, and obviously the place looks like a complete dump, right? It literally looks like a dump. If you watch any videos on it, the place is a dump that they're living in. But people then are, of course, obviously are commenting about how poor they must be. Yeah. But if they're having all these drugs parties, they can't be that poor.
I don't think they're poor. And when I first did the spread, I told Tammy that, because I was like, Tammy, I feel like there's money somehow connected. I was like, and then we were talking about possibly like SSI. Maybe they thought they were going to get SSI if they put autism on these kids, but you also can't have child support and get SSI. So we were finding out different things along the way, but I noticed money comes out a lot for them. And so I remember looking at it thinking, why would their property look like that if they have money? You know? And so that's why I think money does play into this. I just don't know how yet. Somebody has money though, or they did, and they're trying to do something to balance that out. But money is attached somehow.
Meth is involved, Hershey said.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say they were drugged off their head that week and have no clue when, or if.
That's what I think. I feel like I knew where they were, and then all of a sudden I'm supposed to go check, and I'm like, oh no. Like, and then I think back even more, and I'm like, maybe I didn't see them then either. So it's almost like I'm starting to go back more and more, and it's like this could have happened way sooner than I thought it did, kind of thing. So I'm not sure if that's more him. I'm feeling like it's more him. I feel like her is more like she knows what happened. She kind of tried to like cover it for a bit, and then she covered it, pulled other people into it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to look for that name because the names she's getting are pretty close. I think there are E's and O's in it. Yeah, I'd have to look it up again tonight.
Oh, there was a question I had in my head there now a second ago, and it's gone again. Oh yeah, because I had one of my oracle cards was greed, and the card was covered in money as well,
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Will we ask, is there money involved?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In their disappearance, I suppose.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know because again, I saw that property, and after I did the reading of it, and I was like, that doesn't add up to what I'm seeing, and I was like, and I feel like it has to do with money, and maybe because she does still have that biological child with it. I mean, technically she would be entitled to money if they split, which she just happened to do yesterday or the day before on Facebook. Finally put single. At least she's putting it out there now.
Yeah. God. Huh.
Yeah, so I get that there was somebody who's very frivolous with the money, a page of swords in reverse again too. So I still feel like it kind of connects to both of them, but one maybe more than the other. They can also be very careless about money and get very defensive about it. They don't really take, like, obviously they're careless with it, but they kind of they're cunning about it. So they're very strategic in how they do things with money and try to sneak around with it. So I do feel like there is one of the people who are constantly maybe spending more or doing more than the other. I try to see who has it more, but I would think the money's going to be more attached to him than her.
I think so too, yeah. I think he's probably the one who kind of brought the drugs into the house and stuff,
Yeah.
And the party
but again, whatever the money connects to why they left. So trying to show me more than that, but it just keeps showing me that it connects to why they're gone.
Was there money involved? And I have the 3 of Pentacles.
Yeah, and that's what I had for recent energy. And then again, that 8 of Cups just walking away with it. So
yeah.
I do think money played into it.
And the chariot underneath.
Yeah, and I feel like it's money for her. That's what I'm saying. I feel like she thinks this kid will get her money too. So it's like, even if she felt like she was going to lose out on money, it was almost like, well, I'll get child support for this child.
Yeah.
You know?
And I just had them flip over. You were saying her and I, the Queen of Pentacles flip
See, she
over.
thinks she's going to get rich from it or something, or she's going to be set, or she's going to be stable. Like, she doesn't have to do anything. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Tammy said I got the King of Pentacles in mine.
Right. And to me, he'd be the king in the sense of it's his family's money. And usually, too, Pentacles connect to family, legacy, property.
Yeah.
And that's what they're
Yeah.
on. I mean, it is his family's property. And even if it looks run down and raggedy, that property is probably worth money. I'd imagine as much as that land.
Yeah.
You
Maybe.
know?
With woods and even rain before she left, said she Googled it and there is a pond very nearby.
Yeah, I did get something about water too, but it was also saying something how it would have to be drained if it hasn't been drained. I don't know if they've done anything like that. And then there was also saying some things connect to smaller, possibly like rivers or little creeks, but I don't know if the river or creek would always be there if it only fills up at certain times and dries out again.
Oh, yeah.
So I would need to look into that more.
Any other questions, peeps? Or do you have any questions, Megan?
Not so much. I think I kind of got to mention, I didn't like the comment about how she said she was in the room and asked Daniel, like clarified she was speaking to Daniel. That kind of made me feel a little bit weird, still does. I'm like, because again, who else would you be talking to in your bed in the morning taking care of your baby? Again, really confusing to me. And then
unless there's a bit of bed hopping going on.
Exactly. Are you bed hopping, or
was
there just someone else there when it happened, or were you with somebody else when it happened? There's a couple of things that make me wonder, because she does make it, and I do believe her. I do think she was in bed when she said it. So that's why I'm like, who were you in bed with? Because you said Daniel, but wouldn't you be in bed with Daniel? So I don't know. Again, it just threw me off. But and then the CPS thing, the only thing that bothered me about that is I felt like she was taking credit for removing herself from there. I don't think she did that. I think they told her to get out because she had drugs in her system, or we'll take your baby. So go to your mom so your mom can basically watch you and the baby. So but those were just kind of more thoughts.
How come they would have tested her already, so and not him? I mean, he was saying, I'll do drug testing, I'll do a polygraph, I'll do this, I'll do that.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, again, if they didn't test her, I mean, yeah, they could have suggested for her to go and she still went.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For some reason, I feel like they kind of didn't give. I don't feel like it was like, oh, well, this is for the best. I don't know. Again, I could be wrong. We kind of have to see what comes out and what they know. But part of me just feels like she was told to go. It wasn't, and not like for your best concern, but like, this is what we're telling you to do. You can do this or that. That's just how I feel for some reason.
I think it's strange too that he even suggested that he'd be happy to do whatever about the polygraph, but even the drug testing, he said.
Right.
And I mean, if they're having drugs parties all the time, then like, no, I know nothing about drugs, right? I've never touched any drugs, so I literally don't know how long the drugs would have to be out of his system for him to pass a drugs test. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, it can't have been long enough for him to be saying, oh yeah, I'll do a drugs test. It just doesn't make sense to me, really.
No, and why would they just test her and not him, or vice versa? You know what I mean? Like, you would think they would do it both. Now, I heard they did test them because they had found, supposedly, again, drugs possibly in a car. They didn't say whose car it was, so they didn't say if it was his or hers. And I think that they said that they had found him in the house, allegedly. Now, again, I could be wrong about that, but if you're going with it, somebody's on it. And if one's told to leave, it's more than likely the person who's leaving with the child. It really usually is. So that's what I'm saying, because if the dad was clean too and they didn't think he was, they would have left the baby with the dad, regardless of if the kids had taken off or not, because they don't have any proof that they did anything yet. So if the mom came up clean, they wouldn't have sent her to the mother's house with the baby, or they would have let her stay there. So that's what I'm saying. Something around that story is not right. And I feel like it's more or less she got told to go.
Yeah. And it's really bizarre. Like, whatever, I think it was Deception Detective when I was watching this morning. They said, like, there's no evidence whatsoever of anything happening, whether it be them, someone killing them, or whether it be the two wandering off into the woods. There's no evidence, they said, of anything. I mean, they did say, like, the footprint, but they think that could have been just put there by someone or anything, you know?
Yeah. I mean, again, you're looking at two kids. It would be hard for two kids to wander off with no proof.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
2 kids, because especially kids like that, they would have had to been climbing through stuff and pulling on things. And like you
Yeah.
said, they said she had the backpack on and he was only in a pool. I mean, and too, like we have a country home here, and these kids, I'm assuming, grew up in this kind of surrounding. So kids aren't going to wander off into that kind of setting, knowing that it's dangerous, you know, regardless of special needs or not most of the time. So again,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
things can happen, but you're looking at the likelihood of the time of the year. Again, like Sebastian Rogers, he wasn't going to go walking out in the freezing cold with no shoes on the
Yeah.
spectrum. You know, he wouldn't have been able to take the textures and the overstimulation. So for me, it's the same thing with them. They're not going to leave their boundaries, even if one's follow the
Yeah.
other. I would see Lily screaming in place like she did at the party
Yeah.
before she
Yeah.
would follow him. So that's where it does come in play. Did they move
There's also
them?
a fence. Oh yeah, look, Tammy just said it. There's a fence completely surrounding the
Mhm.
mobile home as well. Like, so how did
Mhm.
they even get out past the fence if they did allegedly take off? Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that in the photographs and stuff. Yeah.
And it was a pretty good size fence too.
It
It's not,
wasn't small, like, no.
no, and I think it's like metal. It looks like it's kind of rusted over time.
Yeah.
So it looks like
It
it's a
did.
metal fence on top of it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't see these 2 kids with barely, you know, Jack just being in a pull-up and boots going over that fence. And
they are only 4 and 6, you know. It's not like they're
yeah.
older and could actually make a plan. Oh, come on, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
And I
don't
think
know.
Jack would have had more on if that was the plan, you
Yeah.
know, to
Yeah.
like kind of let's go off and wonder, you know. So it does make you wonder if someone removed them from the property or if something happened during this party or a party, even just, and I'm sure if they were having a party that day, they probably had them every day. I'd imagine, you know, a lot of those
Yeah.
times when they get
Yeah.
into doing that kind of stuff, they're probably doing it a couple times a week.
Yeah.
So,
They did say that there was often, a neighbor said there was often a lot of cars on the property.
yeah, they said they would be so much that they would have to park on the street, and that's a big parking, that's a big lot. So how many
Yeah.
people were there? That's what I'm saying. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people.
Yeah. I don't know. Any last couple of questions? Oh, what fell out? Oh yeah, I've just carried the seat again, looking
Yeah, very much.
thievery and
And you still
whatnot.
have that 2 of swords sitting behind the person running off on
Yeah.
that card,
Yeah.
you know, so the 2 keeps even popping up in the card on the physical, you know,
Yeah.
description in the cards.
2, 3, 4,
And then I
5.
have the tower will be the last main one I come out, you know. So again, that's why I feel like something kind of hit and it just happened. And then all of a sudden everything crumbled and they had to go into plan mode. So
Yeah.
you know, it's the collapse and upheaval of certain things. So shifting all the foundations and things like that. It's also reality checks about certain situations and what was actually happening.
Yeah. Do you think that's what we could ask, will this case be solved quickly? I don't get a sense of this dragging on for years.
No.
I kind of think it'll be
I
figured
think
out
by
quick enough.
mid-June, July. Yeah, I feel like mid-June, July, we'll probably, if not already have somebody, they'll already be in the process of like pretty much letting us know. I don't think they have more than 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Death and the Devil.
Yeah, and see, I have the Knight of Swords. It carries the number 3. So again, kind of almost connecting. So maybe 3 weeks, you might know more. 3 months or the third of a month coming up. But that Knight of Swords again brings in information. They do it quickly. They're kind of fearless when they do that. There's like an ambition behind it too. So they have a reason to come in quickly, spill this information, and do it. And it's to cut the ties of something, make it very raw, very known. So it's very skillful too when they do it. Could be law. I mean, swords are connected to law. So, I mean, that's what you want to see anyways.
No problem, Hershey. Thanks for putting your
thank you for sharing
your spirit box stuff. Yeah, look, I have the Ace of Swords. Asking, would it be that that's truth coming out soon? You know, I look at the swords as weeks.
Yeah, me too.
So that will be soon enough. Although you said, like with the four swords there now, for example, right? You said 4 weeks to months. So do you do that? Like, do you do kind of days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, kind of with the timing?
If I'm looking at pentacles, I'll usually do months to years. If it's swords, it's like weeks to months. If it's fire, it's usually days. If it's water, it can flow.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because fire's quick. Fire's combusted.
Yeah.
It does it quick and then it goes away. And then air is like what it sounds like. It's very slow moving. Earth don't move at all, really. So, and then water again is kind of slow moving. So air and water are going to move about the same time frame. Fire is going to move really fast. Earth is going to move really slow.
Yeah.
So that's how I use it usually.
Hershey said, keep me posted, Jackie. I will.
Absolutely. Keep us
yeah, no,
posted
I
on
always,
any interesting spirit box stuff.
yeah. Actually, if you do a session, Hershey,
Yeah.
make sure to post it and tag us. Oh, the sun is coming around now and blinding me. We've had extreme heat and sunshine for like weeks now. This is completely abnormal for Ireland.
Is it? Yeah. The weather
Completely,
is
yeah.
funny lately, I think,
It
everywhere.
is. It is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Will we ask for, I don't know, will we like just kind of ask for a message from Lily and Jack or something in relation to the case?
Yeah, of course.
Something like that.
Mhm.
Just to round it up because we're at the hour.
Sure. Add a little positive note. Oh, I have, this is perfect. The Two of Cups.
Oh, oh, lovely.
So lovely. Yeah, a
Aw.
boy, a masculine and a feminine energy sharing their emotional, connection with one another. So it is showing wherever they are, they still have one another. They are very emotionally attached to one another. And then their message from that would be open your heart and receive love from others. So they're still sending messages of love and comfort from wherever they are from their energy. So just balance and harmony is what's coming from them.
I had this fallout at the Page of Wands. So I mean, this is kind of what we're fiery and passionate about, and
Right.
I do feel like that it's just that there will be more come out. That it will come about. We will find out soon enough. What again? I would consider the Wands the fastest moving suit anyway. So, and pages are about learning, so it will come out. We will get news soon.
Right.
It will be figured out.
Yeah, that's a good one too, because that's what we want. I mean, you need that
Yeah.
before you can do anything else. So
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah,
great.
I like that.
Good
I like
messages.
that. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Good stuff. I hope we'll do more together
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely look forward to it.
because I love my true crime. I'm keeping an eye on an Irish case now at the moment.
Okay.
About 7 years ago, I think, a woman in a town kind of only about a half an hour from here went missing, and the husband was doing every interview he was asked to do, and the fake tears and doing my wife, I want to find her and all this crap. And the October before, not last October, the October before that, new people bought the house next door to them, and there was something wrong with the plumbing, and they got plumbers in, and didn't the plumbers find bits of bones in the pipes in the walls? And obviously the emergency services and everything were called. The whole place was shut down. Place was being dug up inside and out, and they found her body. And actually, do you know the Tarot of the Haunted House deck by Sasha Graham?
Yes, I do.
I love that for true crime, right? Like, you can't make this shit up when it comes to tarot.
Yeah.
I was using that deck. So it was the October before last that came out, right? So she was found in a black bag, buried under the stairs, and then a whole new concrete flooring was put down to kind of mask the scent and all the rest of it. So they dug it all up and they found her body anyway. So that was grand. But when I was doing the reading then with two of the girls, I pulled the Hanged Man from that deck, which is a skeleton hanging inside a wall.
Yeah. Dex will
It's
do that
crazy,
with you. Yeah, Dex will have it. And that's why I kind of brought up the steampunk. I wish I'd have used the steampunk on this one with the chain being cut, because then it shows you there was something leading to this bomb being dropped. So yeah, it's funny how certain decks exactly will show you exactly.
It's so cool. Even a few months ago, I was doing a live, and Hershey is still here now. I don't know if Tom told you, Hershey, but Hershey was away on holidays, and Tom was watching, and I was doing quick one card pulls with another reader. And Tom says to me, Hershey is away, and there's water coming through the ceiling in one of the rooms. Will it get sorted before she gets home? And I was using, the TV or the Netflix series, Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I got that tarot deck. It's really good. and I pulled a card from that deck, and the card was the Five of Pentacles, but it's from the very first episode when they lose all their money. They move into a motel at the side of the road in a town that they purchased years before as a kind of a joke present for the son. And they're rudely awakened in the middle of the night to water pouring through the ceiling of the motel room in on top of their bed, soaking them. And that's what Tom asked me, like, there's water pouring through the ceiling. Will I get it fixed before Hershey comes home? And I pulled the Five of Pentacles. It's just crazy. Like, I says, Tom, you can't make this shit up.
That's funny. That's a great one. I have to look at that deck. I didn't know they made a deck.
Oh, I've looked at other decks that are based on like films and TV shows and stuff, and I've never seen anyone that really was perfectly done, and that's one that was perfectly done. Like, you'd have to know the series inside out. Like,
yeah, the ones that I have the most, it's I got Friends and Golden Girls.
Cool.
Yeah, Golden Girls and Friends were nice decks. Now, and because they have like where they're the same kind of thing, I guess those aren't so much for true crime, but like if you're just doing like basic readings of like how everything's going to be, like general readings, those are really good because you do get a lot of like the Friends, as far as like the atmosphere that you get from it. So it's really cute. You get a lot of that with those.
They'd be good for kind of friends and relationship kind of readings.
Yeah, perfect for those. So it's nice to use different decks for that.
I love that, but I love how I always like pick the right deck to give the the images always. It's mad.
Nice to have some to choose from.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got tarot decks that are my go-to for sure. That just get to the point because tarot likes to tell the story of hers. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And yes, it is very sad the things people do. I agree. Very, very sad. Oh
God, it is. Yeah.
You almost want to be like, oh my gosh, I don't think I could be more shocked, but yet they always seem to shock you a little bit more. Huh?
They do, yeah.
It's a shame.
Tammy says, glad to have found you through Megan, and thank you for dropping my link, joining her. Absolutely.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us and everybody joining us, and thank you for welcoming me on here.
Good stuff. I hope you've all subscribed to everyone else in the channel as well as Megan, lads, because everyone here... everyone that has been on has their own channels.
Exactly. Great.
So thanks a million, guys. We're going to wrap it up there. And we'll be doing another live together anyway soon, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely.
So thanks everyone for being here.
Yes, thank you. And thank you again for having me. And I look forward to chatting with y'all again.
No bother.
All right. Y'all take care.